Hello, English 2 students. I'm just jumping on here to talk to you a little bit more about the prompt. Some questions came up about how to necessarily structure your answer for this prompt. So I'm going to kind of jump in here and just talk to you about it. Once again, the Act 2 prompt is this right here. Uh, so we're focusing on character motives and how they advance the plot. So in at least 400 words, you're going to answer the following two questions. What motivates John Proctor, Elizabeth Proctor, Reverend Hell, and Mary Warren? And how do these motives conflict with one another and cause conflict? You need to make sure you cite evidence from the text to help support your answer. Now, yesterday, at the end of the day, seventh hour actually, a couple students asked me how to go about structuring this, and that was a good question. So I felt like I should kind of address it here. So here's how I would recommend probably doing this. So the amount of paragraphs you use is completely up to you, but you do need to break these up into paragraphs because keep in mind, a paragraph is doing something. It's both doing something and saying something at the same time. And if you start doing a separate thing, you need a separate paragraph. And so you need to have at least two paragraphs here. I'd recommend probably even more. We're going to have conflict, of course, between the proctors based on their motives. We see conflict between the proctors and Hale because of their motives, and we see a conflict between Mary Warren and the proctors because of their motives. So all of those would be possible paragraphs you could work with right there. But in paragraph one, what you need to do, address each of the four characters' motives. Here's what the motives are for this character, this character, this character, this character. Here's what their motive is. Here's what their goal is. Here's what their ambition. Here's the thing that drives them. Here's the thing that's that's making them do what they do in this act. Then, in the subsequent paragraphs, paragraphs 2 through 4, or however many paragraphs you need, you're going to address the conflicts that these motives cause. So, like I said, so I dedicate, if you're going to do one over John and Elizabeth Proctor, I dedicate an entire paragraph to the conflict that John and Elizabeth Proctor are facing because of their conflicting motives, and so on and so on. I would recommend doing each conflict as its own paragraph. So the first paragraph include everybody's motives together because you're already doing one thing with that, and then subsequent paragraphs I would do paragraph 2. Here's one conflict, and then you are doing another thing. You are talking about a different conflict in paragraph 3 and paragraph 4, so on. 4 paragraphs should be more than enough to accomplish this feat. Now, note the latter paragraphs is where you probably want to provide the text evidence. So the last half of these last however many paragraphs is where you want to provide the text evidence. And you don't have to go super crazy. You don't have to even do like a full out direct quote. The main thing you need to do in order to at least point to text, you need to at least point to the text evidence. You need to drop where you can find this information to help support it and help solidify the argument you're making. And all you have to do that is include the page number, Miller, and whatever page number it is. Arthur Miller is the author, so you need to include his name, and then you need to include the page number of which you found that information can be found. And that's it. I know it seems like a hassle, but trust me, the seniors are currently getting used to having to use page numbers and whatnot. So the sooner you can get into the habit of having to do this, the easier it will be for you next year in science and come your senior year in college writing. But that is how I would recommend writing this particular prompt. If you have any questions for me, email me, pdavidson@portagewell.k12.mo.us. This is due tonight at 11:59. You have class hour to work on it if you're face-to-face. But hope you all have a good weekend. Don't do anything stupid. So Monday, we can start Act 3 of The Crucible.